love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything.
Testing 1 2. Sound check. All right, everything sounds good.
Turning back, I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so what? You're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate, I attack. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just look me up. Don't be scared. I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything.
For those of you out there that have been hitting that like button, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
When I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just look me up. Don't be scared.
Got roughly about 5 minutes before we get started. Just going over a few things, trying to make sure I got everything set up. So far, so good. Stream health is excellent. Very slight delay. If only the markets were going so well, right?
this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't be scared. Just give me up. Don't be scared.
I'll be glad to have you here. Make sure I pay a little bit more attention to the chats. I don't have as big of a delay. That way maybe it won't be as frustrating.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal.
Hubby says switched up the time, used to the late streams, LOL. No, I still plan on doing the late night streams. That's kind of a great time for me too, because I am a night owl. But I didn't make it Monday. I did this other one Wednesday, but the crypto insight where I just kind of go over the general market. I'm shooting to try to do those during the daytime, probably right around this time, about 2:30 on Mondays or Tuesdays, and then also trying to do it on Friday as we go into the weekend, just to give everybody a feeling for what the weekend might hold. But the late night streams, there will be more of those coming, hopefully on a little bit of a more regular basis, especially since I've not been doing as many coin videos. I just don't feel like this is the time to be putting that kind of information out there. I don't want to be the cause of anybody FOMOing into a project when it's just not a good time to start looking at them yet.
And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just give me up. Don't be scared.
Selling may go away. I've been wondering that myself for a while, and I am looking at that. I'm looking at that closely.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for.
All right, my clock says 2:30.
Now wake up.
Let's get this thing going. It will take me a second to do it anyway. All right. Ooh, that's too loud. All right, there is supposed to be music. I am not hearing it. Because I have to hit that play button. All right, testing, sound check. Yeah, see what I mean about technical difficulties there. All right, welcome to stream, everyone. Just getting everything set up. Always full of surprises there. And lost my volume control. All right, this should be a pretty good level there. Let me do a quick check. All right, testing. And I still got nothing. Tell me if you guys hear the music. Technical difficulties there. All right, I think we got it. All right, welcome to stream, everybody. Or my one person who watches my videos. What would I do without you? Got a little reggae going in the background. Need something to kind of lift us up on a day like this, on a week like this. And look at crypto bubbles on the weekend, and it's just blazing red. Such a disappointment. If that was all we get out of alts. Oh, disappointing. But it's really, gosh, it's tricky to say. We're at such a weird level. We have technically broken structure, but we are still at a resistance level or a support level. So there's prices coming down, the trend line underneath, yet we're showing some signs, especially on Market Cipher, of some bullish divergence. A little bit on the RSI. Now that's the one I mostly look at. Not as strong there, but on Market Cipher, it does have it. Stochastics are down to the downside. I'm on the 4 hour here. Money flow is just going deep into the red. And VWAP has not quite made it there, meaning that we are likely to come up just a little bit on momentum wave and get one of those red dots, and then our stochastics will probably trade sideways. So this weekend, more than likely another low liquidity weekend. And we say that a lot because retail is just not here yet. At some point in this market, the weekends are going to be the best time to get your best deals. And sometimes that's going to be some of the best times to get your best profits. There'll be some point when all the cool trading, all the good trading comes in on the weekend, but we are not at that point yet. So Bitcoin on the 4 hour, there are some signs there that give us hope, but there's also some signs here, especially on the moving averages, that just indicate, a possibility to come down to these lower levels, which I do not want to see. I am definitely in some trades that I should have cut short long ago. And I remember on the live stream, we were up here and CD was watching at the time and he was going short, and I hope that he's still in that short. I hope he is knocking it out. He had the foresight to see that. I just go by the general rule. If we're in an overall uptrend, I'm not going to risk shorting as much, but this area that we were at was a great area to consider doing it. So good luck to all you who are shorting. I wish you the best of luck. However, I do hope for a turnaround here. So a pattern inside a pattern. The pattern we just broke to the downside. This is normally a bullish pattern, this falling megaphone pattern. But usually when we fall to the outside of these patterns, we normally see a big, strong movement to the downside. We haven't seen that yet. And that gives me a little bit of hope. And that's really the situation we're in right now, is hope, because it's all depending on this trend line right here. And we'll zoom out to the daily, take a closer look at that, coming from the tops of those. And I did actually have my line just a little higher. And I'm going to tweak it right now, just to put it on that candle body there. And if you see, if I do this and line up that candle body there, it lines up very well with these candle bodies too. We've broken it. So it's kind of hopium right now to try to use the candle wicks and connect that to a candle body. And it's still valid too, because it touches this wick. So we got enough touches and our wick comes down to it. So depending on how you look at it, we've broken structure, or this is our last line in the sand that we have to confirm that break of structure. So this is the current trend line, the hopium trend line that I'm putting up there. This is my last line. If I see that, then, you know, I am definitely looking for lower levels. There are a couple of levels here that we could wick down to and still possibly be safe, you know, and go down as far as 27,000 and 21 is what I've got on this chart. And that would line up with this 50 EMA. So that's a possibility, because price usually does come down and retest the 50 at some point if the 21 fails. But just the fact of breaking that trend line, even with a wick, is a sign of weakness that I really don't want to see. So watching these stochastics, and this is on the daily, the dailies are bottoming out too, but our money flow has just turned red. So if it were still in the green, I would not expect as severe of a drop, but since now we're in the red, we could be looking at a bigger drop. Now, we mentioned earlier, if I can zoom out just a little bit, or maybe I can go to, this chart. And we're looking at this big inverted head and shoulders. All right. And we discussed, I mean, this has like a 65% chance for price to come back down and retest that entry level. And that's 25,000. There is a lot of confluence that could happen. Now, I do expect there to be a lot of buy pressure around these areas. But I'm noticing now that the VRVP doesn't agree with that fact, because our next big node there, well, would start here about 24,000, possibly down as low as 23,188. But under normal circumstances, we would expect to see this line hold. What has got me just a little bit skittish is that when I go to total 2, just to check out how the alts are doing, because we had the same similar pattern with total 2, right? We had the inverted head and shoulders. This is total 2 for altcoins minus Bitcoin. We didn't make it. It did not make it up to its first measured move, and that was from a falling wedge. Now it's still in it's actually a bearish pattern, but it's you know, this could still play out. That's not the greatest line, since we had this little possible bull trap where we retested this falling wedge. But the price action here has come back to retest the area. Now, so far it's found support. Now that's hopeful, but it would be a shame, it would be a pity for this pattern to be invalidated by dropping down below this and continuing down. That would be very sad for me, because it's, you know, it's not too often that you see these patterns fail. Although recently I've seen on a few alts where a inverted head and shoulder, you know, beautiful textbook one, can't remember the coin exactly, but there were 1 or 2 of them where it did fail. And so when you see those things on some other coins, you always want to park that in the back of your mind, just to think, you know, this could be an indication of how the patterns play out overall for other coins, including Bitcoin or total market cap. So, you know, with failed patterns, always follow them in the back of your mind, especially if you see that pattern on some other coins. And I hope we don't see that. I really hope we don't. I hope we find support here at the 50, which we have. You know, looking at the indicators, stochastics are coming down the downside, but MACD, I mean, it flipped bearish on us, and it's just getting started. Now, looking at the 4 hour, the MACD is starting to come up a little bit, a little hopeful. I got to see this curving around a little bit. So I like to go through these time frames on all these indicators. just to give me a feel of what's going on. Weekly MACDs, we're okay. Monthly MACD is starting to look beautiful. And that's the thing overall when I'm looking at Bitcoin. I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, but I like to start out with Bitcoin because Bitcoin is king. But the monthly on Bitcoin looks nice. It looks really nice. So, are we dumping the 15,000? I don't see anything like that. Not with what I'm seeing here on the monthly. Because it continues to get more and more bullish on the monthly. It's just when we start coming back down, 2 week bullish, still bullish on 2 week. Looks awesome. Weekly looks awesome. It's here at the 5 day that we start seeing the trouble start coming when we're starting to curve down. Now we did that over here. Let's see if we can bring up the charts. We did that right here. Now you can't see it on the MACD, but that's where we were in price action, about 23,000. It looked like it was going to get bearish, but it didn't. It surprised us. So can that happen again? I mean, it's happened 1, 2, 3 times so far. Could this be a 4th time that we get that little fake out? Oh no, the world's ending. Oh, surprise. We just came in and bought up all the Bitcoin. I'm watching that. I'm looking. I want to know that. 3 days looks in the same situation, right? Starting to come down a little bit. So MACD, even though it's a lagging indicator, I keep it on here because it's a goodie. And we can do the same thing with, still on Bitcoin, with the VMC. Stochastics are still going up. Money flow's coming up. VWAP's coming up. It looks good. The monthly looks good. 2 week. 2 week looks all right. Money flow's evening out. VWAP, volume weighted average prices, is okay. Momentum wave's it's got a way it can go, right? We're at 37% and look, it got up to 107% back over here. That was the top of or around the top of the bull. So nowhere close to that yet, but stochastics are up here at the top and they can get pinned there and they can stay there for a while, but eventually they do come down. Weekly, momentum waves showing a little tiredness there. It's starting to get a little narrow. See how that light blue is starting to point out just a little bit. See how stochastics are coming down. See VWAP starting to come down, but money flow is going up. Money flow, I think, is one of the most important indicators to watch on VMC or a market cipher. Because any of the bad stuff that you see coming out with the other stuff, or some of the things that are looking kind of bearish, money flow coming into the green will negate that, or at least offset it quite a bit. 5 day, money flow is in the green. Red dot. So that suggests that the pullback may not be as severe. Went through all this red and money flow, and now we're in the green, and it's holding strong on the 5 day. 3 day, money flow still in the green, even though we got a red dot. That's a fresh red dot. Stochastics coming down. So my experience with this indicator tells me that the pullback under this situation shouldn't be that severe. Daily says something a little different. However, stochastics on the daily at the bottom, and we're just now getting into some red. Now, will it be a shallow red like this? Maybe. VWAP is very down, so there's a good chance that we can start seeing some curving here on the daily for the VWAP. I mean, it's lower. It hasn't been this low since February. And before that, it wasn't that low until December. And then we had those nice little turnarounds. December was a good turnaround point. And this looks a little similar to what we saw there. And then remember, let's see, this was December 17th. And January 1st, yeah, I was proclaiming bullish. Number go up. The signs were there telling me we are up. And then we just took off in that big explosion. So can we be looking possibly at spending a couple weeks at these kind of wild areas. Let's just kind of take a look at Bitcoin price at that time right here and see what it was doing. This was at our bottom, or I'm calling it the bottom. And we were coming down, and we went sideways and down just a little bit. And it was looking rough, 16.5, right? And then we just slowly catching on that 50 moving average. That's how key that 50 moving average is that we may be retesting soon. Even fell below it a little bit. It was looking scary there. A lot of people were extremely bearish, calling for 10,000. But we just slowly started rounding up. And price right now is showing some evidence of rounding on the smaller time frames. So coming over to the 15-minute, you can kind of see that. Might even be able to draw a parabolic line. So that's not bad. So there is some evidence of some rounding here. And at this point, all we can do is hope. But 15-minute looks kind of a little rough right now. I pay very close attention to these moving averages and how did they cross. And when I start seeing them cross, especially these three, pay really close attention to these three because you see them play off of each other so much. And we're just maintaining under that 9 on the 15. So I just kind of jump around from time frame to time frame to try to get a handle on this, but I'm hoping this rounding structure will hold, but I'm not seeing enough evidence to convince me at the moment that it will. So if we were to break this trend line, and let me get rid of the Fibonacci so we can see a little bit better. I've got these zones here. My -2.7, which is lined up really nice with what our VRVP is saying for a value area. Is it the high or the... You don't see me use this indicator a lot because it's subjective as to how much of the screen that you display and where you are, right? So when it has just a little bit of the screen to look at, you know, that value area low kind of lines up with our 0.27. But when you expose more of it and it takes more price action into consideration, it puts that value area low. Oh, now it's not even. Now it just quit working. Histogram was okay. Well, now you're doing it. So it puts the value area. As soon as I talk, it goes off. Puts the value area low down here about as far as 20,000. Now I'm not going to be happy if I. Well, I can be happy if I see that. It's definitely a good time to snatch up more Bitcoin. But for some of the current positions I'm in right now, I don't want to see that. But on the 4 hour, we have lost the 200, and to me, I find that a little concerning. Yet again, we got bullish divergence, at least on Market Cipher. I'm not seeing it yet on the RSI, but the RSI is at an extremely low level. Extremely low level for a 4 hour. Coming in at 21. Crazy low. So a big strong dump right now to the bottom. It's hard for me to buy that. Now I can buy us coming back up, retesting this 200, maybe about 28.5. And then if there's still a sell-off on Bitcoin for whatever reason, that could give us the momentum to come down. And because that would give these indicators a time to reset. RSI or stochastics could top out up here RSI could come up high and then we can get rejected and come down. That's a possibility that we might see this weekend. But if we break this trend line, because this rising megaphone pattern measured move, and we'll take two different ones. We'll go a little bit more of a conservative measure move right there. Conservative measure move takes us down here to this area, 25,200. Normal measure move would take us down to about 24,700. Those are some very valid targets. And that kind of lines up with our retest of this inverted head and shoulders. So the probabilities of that happening are very fair. We just may not see it just drop immediately straight down there. It may give us some hopium and then surprise us with a bigger drop. So those are just the things I'm looking at. I'm not a fortune teller. I cannot tell you where price is going to go. I can just tell you the probabilities that I see. And we checked out total 2, and we look at total that does have Bitcoin included. Same situation, inverted head and shoulders type pattern. I'm not seeing, does it have a good solid neckline? Does it? It's not really a good solid neckline. Could we draw it? Now that could work. That could be valid. Prefer to draw my necklines from the swing highs, but there is a little lip in price there that does give me a top to go with. Not just put it in the middle of a candle or anything. Well, at least not on this time frame. It may look like that on a larger time frame. So if we take that into consideration, I mean, we're still in the same situation, testing the bottom of that trend line. And so this could either be a retest, and it seems like a scary one, right? And we could, get our bounces there, and things could be okay. It'd be a slow turnaround, I think. Or, it could be a failed pattern, but we haven't confirmed a failed pattern yet. So too early to make that call, and too early to make any rash decisions on the trades I'm in, unfortunately. So portfolios are down a little bit in a down draw, and hopefully you guys took some profit while the prices were up in altcoins. I was taking profit, but it was a lot of my targets didn't get reached. Now 4 hour on total 2, I'm looking at the moving averages, and we're getting ready for that 21 to cross negatively over the 100. 9 is already crossed over the 200. And we're below the 200, and those are not the greatest signs to see. My little cloud's a little bit thinner than what I would like. I want to see this thicken up a little bit and give us a chance to draw back into it. But we're just not there yet. So I don't spend as much time on ES1 for the Standard & Poor's, because we are actively decoupling from the stock market. It doesn't have as much of an impact on us anymore. But we'll take a look and see what it's doing, and actually it's doing okay. So it's been holding the 9 moving average on the daily. Well, it's just lost it. So, normal to come back and retest the 21. Next week, we'll probably definitely see that. I doubt that they'll have time to play that out today. But overall, the moving averages look good. If it does anything, it loses that, come down to the 50. Retest this area of support. But we're not seeing that out of crypto. So a little different thing going on there. Looking at the dollar, which does affect the markets, all the markets, including crypto. The dollar looks like it may be double bottoming. And if it starts going up, that will affect our markets. The thing I'm watching closely here is my moving averages. You see, that's not really wanting to cross. And my 9 is not really showing signs that it's ready to take off and cross over that 21 moving average. Now, we've been retesting it and losing it, and it may eventually, over the weekend and early next week, gain enough strength to do that. This is the thickening of the Ichimoku cloud that I would love to see come in on Bitcoin in total too. And with all our altcoins and everything, I would love to see it thicken up like that where we're underneath it. But we don't have that there. So when I turn to Bitcoin dominance, there was hope that when we reach this level and come down, that we would have a nice little altcoin season, and we did see some improvements in our altcoin prices. But it hasn't played out to the tune or to the effect that we need to actually see a solid, even a solid mini altcoin season. I mean, I would settle for just a mini altcoin season, but it's still holding this broadening wedge pattern. And this one's kind of a neutral one. It's not slanting to the upside, not really slanting to the downside, slanting smack down in the middle. It's a lot like a symmetrical triangle in a way, where they're just a little unpredictable. And I mean, there's signs we could make an inverted head and shoulders and come down in Bitcoin dominance, and that would be, I'm cool with that. As long as Bitcoin can get to an area where it can trade sideways, that's what we need to see, some improvement out of our altcoins. I mean, it's not really sure how we got in such a big sell-off. Nothing really has changed. Fundamentally, I see no changes. Exactly. It's very odd. And it just seems like, and I mentioned it on one of my other streams, a weird price action this week that I was just seeing. It seems weird. So whether there's somebody selling off a lot of Bitcoin, I mean, I don't have evidence for that yet. I'm sure definitely on chain there's metrics on it, but I know they've been moving around a lot of Bitcoin, but you know, it hasn't went to the exchange from what I've read. But if there was an entity out there trying to manipulate this to, I don't know, maybe not have the dollar look so foolish or look so in danger by crypto. I mean, I don't know if a government might be selling Bitcoin. I don't know. It's weird because look at the volume. Look at the volume on Bitcoin. It's low, really low volume. So over here, this had there's a lot of buy pressure there. So it's hard to see why the people buying at these levels, you know, would sell off below these levels. Unless they all just sold it up here, but where's the volume? But one thing that we can hope for, you know, falling price and falling volume is usually a good sign that that's getting weak. And there's just mixed signals here. There are some signs showing that this is weak, that we might get a bounce here, and then there's some things that say, you know, oh, this could keep going down. It almost seems like every weekend we get put in this situation where it's just at that point to where it can be a make it or break it every freaking weekend. But so far, this level's holding on the daily. I just don't like how those moving averages are curving. But they haven't crossed yet, like they have on the lower time frames, which can indicate that we just haven't seen it yet. So it's going to be a cautionary tale, I guess, for crypto this weekend. Take a look at Ethereum here, and it did come down to test that 200 moving average that I think we talked about before. Get rid of some of those trend lines so we can see what I'm talking about here a little easier. But we found support there so far. But that doesn't mean that we'll hold it. Daily suggests that, we could come down here to retest this area about 1785. Now, I do have some orders stacked to pick up some of this on one of my margin position accounts. And I may have to look at opening up another short once I get a signal to do that. But look, we're breaking back into this trend line, and if we do that, that's not good. That's almost a guarantee to come back down to the bottom of here around 1688. So if this candle closes below this red line today, those chances are very likely, even though there's some signs showing that we could get support here. So it's really confusing. So I'm just watching to see if we are getting faked out or if this is going to be a true bigger correction. Because they do love to fake us out, and they love to do it on the weekends. So I said, don't be fearful, just be cautious and watch for the signs, watch for the price levels. But if you're trading, just trade very cautiously, and shorts may be in order. Now, I missed my opportunity to get in, and it makes no sense for me. I do not, it goes against my rule to short support. That never works out for me. That's a hard lesson to learn. But that's where we are. We're at support, so I have no short here. If we break below there, we will most likely get a retest, and that would be my short signal. And that would be the safest place to enter into a short position. Unless you were savvy enough, like CD and some of the other ones that caught it up here. And, kudos to all the guys who did that. I was not comfortable with entertaining the idea of doing that at that point. And I think I just finished a decent long around that time. And it seems like I may have had a little struggle with that long at one point. I don't know. There was something that made me just want to take a little break from the market at the time. Okay, so we checked out Ethereum. I'm really not... I normally, a lot of times during this Insight show, I'll go over the top 10 individually. Right now, we'll just take a look at the top gainers and losers. Top 100 for the past week. Because when we see price, especially Bitcoin, coming down, it's a good idea to see what's holding strong. And I like to do that against the week and do it against the day too. But unbelievably, Baby Doge being coins has been holding strong. OKB has been holding very, decently. Injective's had a nice week. And I took some profit on that and trying to figure out some good places to get back in on Injective. And I do have a video out on that. It has some of those areas listed. Arbitrum's done very fair. Zilliqa's been surprisingly holding up very well. It's over 3 cents now. It's been holding that pretty well. Render, ICP, BitTorrent. Caspa's fallen. Conflux, Stacks, Immutable X. They've all taken a hit over this past 7 days. Lido, Algorand, poor Algorand. With Mr. Gensler's comments on that, you just don't know which one he's going to pick on, huh? So you never know when all he's got to do. He's like anti-Elon. Elon would tweet something and prices go up, sometimes down. But Gary, he's going to have that similar effect. As he mentions a coin, people are going to sell off out of fear. Aptos, Phantom, Aave, Quant, sad. But the cool thing about CoinGecko is that you can come over here to the 7-day and just look at the price action, and it looks ugly for Bitcoin. Looks rough for Ethereum. It just looks bad for them all. But there's got to be a point of support coming. And the biggest thing that, in my opinion, we have to hold on to is that inverse head and shoulder shape, especially on Bitcoin, especially on Total 2. We really, really need to see this area of support hold, and to see this on the 6 hour, this 200 moving average, where it's currently finding support, for that to hold. Now, we can take a Fibonacci, swing high to swing low. And it tells me that we broke that 382 level. Possibility we could wick back up, find support here at the 200. But if not, you know, we could see another 40 billion walk out of the altcoins. Now, I will say this, sometimes I've seen retest, the best ones to have, where you come back to the neckline. I have seen price come back and pull off a surprise run to the upside, but nothing that I would bet the farm on. So if you have chances to preserve your capital, it's not a bad time to consider those options, I think. Because we can always find some better entries and some more favorable conditions to jump back in. All right. So I've covered Bitcoin. We've covered the dollar. We've covered Bitcoin dominance. Total 2 that we've just looked at again. Which my daily MACD suggests that we're just getting started on a downward move. Would not be surprised if we do hit this area right there. So this weekend may be kind of rough for altcoins. So put your stops in place and guard that capital. ES1 we looked at doesn't really pertain to us at the moment because we are decoupling. And we looked at Bitcoin and we looked at Ethereum and just kind of grazed over. I do want to take a look at DOT. I know a lot of my viewers do like DOT, and you know, we broke into the downside of this rising channel or rising wedge. Do expect us to come back and retest these areas about 523, 551. Measured move from that suggests that we could come down as low as where we were over here, about 513. So trade cautiously, but this is pretty much all I've got that I want to go over today. I'm not sure if I will be doing my late night stream tonight. I'd mentioned that last time I did this one during the day, and things just got away from me. But there may be a possibility I do it, have a stream tonight. So if you want to set your notification bell, just be aware of that. And plus I'll post it on Twitter and Telegram groups. And then definitely do plan on doing some more streams later in the evenings, usually about 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. And just chilling and checking out the charts and checking out whatever you guys want to go over, talking about whatever you guys want to go over, just kind of chart and chill. But for me, that's all I've got right now, and I appreciate you so much for being here and tuning in, and for everyone that catches this stream at a later time. I hope this information is helpful to you. For right now, this is all I got. So I appreciate you for being here, and for those of who see it and have not yet,
For those of you out there that have been hitting that like button, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
seriously, thank you very much. You guys really help the channel grow. All right, I'm going to call it a stream. Wish you the best.
love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look